Hi there, I'm Marisela Abasta, and I'm going to share with you today of the first few things, actually three things that I did to pull myself out of depression. And I'm hoping it helps you today and kind of gives you some direction on where to start. So that's what I'm going to do for you today. I hope you watched my last video blog. It shares a little bit about what I did and where I was as far as the depression was concerned, and the pit of hell that I was in when I started to work on myself. And that pit of hell, as I called it, was it was really hard for me to function, to actually even do anything. Sometimes it was even hard for me to shower. It was hard for me to feed myself. I would feed my kids, but then I wouldn't be hungry, and I would just lay on the couch and just watch them eat or watch them play. I mean, I just was not a functioning human being, unfortunately, at the time. And so when I had purchased the book and I thought, okay, great, I was so excited because I finally heard someone say there is a cure and this is what you need to do in order to fix it. At that point, I felt like depression had taken me to a point where I was desperate to try anything to try to pull myself out of it. And so everything that I had tried prior, my antidepressants, anti-anxiety, all those traditional things, they just didn't work for me. And so what I did is I went and I got the book. So if you want to start, you need to start there. Go and get the book. I don't have what it looks like now. This was the book that I got. It's hardcover. I don't think they make it in hardcover anymore. It's the John Gray, Gray, and it's How to Get What You Want and Want What You Have. I think the newer ones, it's a paperback and it has his face on it, and so it's not going to look like this, but this is the original book that I had gotten. If you could tell, a lot of sections there, a lot of highlighting. This was my saving grace right here. So first step, you need to go get the book. You need to start reading the book. You have to decide. Actually, I'm going to take that back. The very first step, and I think this is what I did, was I made a conscious decision that I no longer wanted to be depressed. I no longer wanted to live that life. And I made a conscious decision that I wanted to change my life. That I was going to do whatever the book told me to do. If it told me to do 1,000 jumping jacks a day, I probably would have done it. So make a decision within yourself and a commitment that you're going to do whatever it takes to get it done and to make it happen. And it's going to be painful. There is going to be some painful moments, but pushing through that pain and allowing yourself to feel it is what's going to get you to the other side of happiness. So your very number one first thing that you need to do, number one, is decide that you're going to do it. I almost feel like when I know, for me, when I make a decision, it's almost like God starts to put things in my path to give me what I need to make that decision in whatever commitment I made to make that happen. And so it's important that, number one, you make that decision that you no longer want to be depressed and that you want to do whatever it takes to change it. So that's number one, decide. Maybe a little added footnote in there is, in that decision, accept that only you have the power to change it. That only you have the power to truly transform your life. That only you have the power to become the person that you want to become. That's all you. There's no, no magic pill. Although that would be nice. That would have been nice, but there's no magic pill. It's going to take work on your part, and only you have the power to do it. So take responsibility for that. If you continue to be depressed because you didn't take action, be responsible and know that's because you didn't do it. There's no one else to blame but yourself. So number one, make that decision, and then 1A inside of that number one is accept that you have the power to do it. So that's ultimately what the first thing that I did. The second thing, and actually I consciously remembered making that decision in my head. It was that day that I watched that John Gray show on Oprah and saw John Gray, that day I remember consciously making that decision of I'm going to do whatever it takes to get out of this pit of hell. So anyways, so that's number one. So number two is I would go buy the book. It's, I want to say $15. I've given that book to thousands of people. Before I started wanting to share this and help people and share with the world that, you know, depression is curable, I was a realtor. I was a realtor for, I think maybe 13 years. And I would meet people, help them sell houses, and realize, oh, this person's depressed. And I would get the book for them, and that would be one of their gifts that I would give as a closing gift. So I've gotten that book so many times. Anyway, so $15 book, okay? Get the book. Start reading the book. So many times people get something, they think it's a quick fix, and then they put it aside and say, oh, I'll get to it later. You can't. You have to start taking action. You have to start reading the book, okay? When you start to read the book, man, you're gonna have some major epiphanies as you're reading that book. You're gonna start to feel like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening, and I'm no longer gonna be depressed. It gives you the motivation you need to be able to change your life and remove that depression from your life. So start reading the book. The process, he doesn't actually share it with you until the till the back of the page, the back of the book, but the beginning is very important so that you can learn to understand yourself and understand what you're feeling and your emotions and how they're processed and how they are. So don't skip to the back. Read the entire book, and then you can start doing the process from there. So step number two is buying the book. So step number one, decide and also accept responsibility that anything that happens or doesn't happen in your life is because of your choice. Number two, buy the book and start reading it and start doing it. As you read the book, start writing the healing letters. The number one thing in this book that teaches you is the healing process, and that's writing healing letters. Start writing one healing letter a week. Start by, writing the first healing letter to your third grade teacher who made you feel like, hell or crap or whatever, you know what I mean? Start writing just at least one healing letter. What I did is I actually... I had spent a year and I wrote I wrote healing letters 3 times a week. So I would tell my husband, I'm going to go into the room, I'm going to write healing letters, please don't let the kids come in, and please don't bother me, I'm going to heal myself. So I would go to my bedroom, I had a couch in there at one time, a chair with the ottoman and all, and I would write my healing letters to whoever I needed to write it to. The book will share with you and tell you how to bring up those whoever you need to heal. And I'll share it with you on another blog post too. But anyways, start writing those healing letters. Read the book and start writing those healing letters. And the third thing that I did was I bought a journal. I had always journaled. I think I had journals since I was 8 years old. I have journals from when I was 8 years old. And that's why I think I was actually suffering from depression even at 8 years old. I mean, the words in there for an 8-year-old was very sad. But I bought myself a journal, and in this journal, it was only the feel-good stuff. I wrote in this journal who I wanted to become, and it was so exciting. I remember the feeling. I could actually feel it coming up right now. The excitement of writing down who I wanted to become, the parent I wanted to be, the wife I wanted to be, the person I wanted to be, the personal things that I wanted to have, the material things I wanted to have, and it was very exciting to write it all out. So what I did was, in the journal I put down who I want to be as a mother, and so I would write down patient, loving, compassionate, easygoing, positive words, given to my child, or whatever the case may be. I wrote down who I wanted to become. I wanted to be, almost like Leave It to Beaver mom. Unfortunately, I didn't, have good examples. My mom worked hard to raise 4 children, and she wasn't very loving. She wasn't compassionate. She was quite mean sometimes. If you've ever watched the movie Mommy Dearest, that was my mom, unfortunately. And but she's worked very hard to support us, and in her own little ways, she showed us love. So so I didn't have good examples, but you know what? I took the examples of people around me that I thought, man, I would love to be a mom like that. I would love to, hug my baby and just, well, not my baby. I was always loving to the babies. It's when they got older, they start being bratty at 6 or 7 years old. They start becoming challenges. It's really easy to forget that they still need love and affection at that time. So anyways, I wrote down who I wanted to become as a mom. And then I wrote down who I wanted to be as a wife. And then I wrote down what I wanted in my career, who I wanted to become. At that time, I was working at a dead-end job as a bill collector for municipal court violations, tickets, child support division. I also did some collections for child support division. And so I hated it. I had hit that glass ceiling, and I was not going to be in management. I was even told, we don't hire women managers, so you will never be a manager in this company. And I remember never ever wanting to feel that way. So in the who I wanted to become, I wanted to be self-employed. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to do my own thing. So go to town with that. Write down everything in every aspect of your life. Your children, as a mother, as a wife, in your career, or as just an auntie, or an uncle, or even men get depressed, by the way. But write down what aspects of your life you want and what do you want it to look like. And in that same journal, and this was probably the hardest thing I had to do, is I started writing down 5 things I was grateful for. Every morning I would wake up and I would write down 5 things I was grateful for. That was probably the most difficult thing for me to do. It was painful to even think about it because I didn't have the feelings of gratitude. I didn't have the feelings of joy. I didn't have the feelings of happiness. I didn't have the feelings of appreciation. I didn't have any of those feelings. I had feelings of misery. I had feelings of why can't I have that, and why am I this way? I had feelings of well, I don't have that, and I had feelings of lack. I had feelings of hatefulness. I had feelings of hatefulness towards myself, hatefulness towards the world. And so having to write every morning 5 things I was grateful for was very painful for me. But let me tell you how I did it. I would fake it. I had heard one time, fake it till you make it. So true. I faked it. And so here's your frown, right? And so I would write the 5 things I was grateful for, and I would put a fake smile on my face, and I would put, I am grateful for my blankets. I am grateful for my bed. I am grateful for my house, or at the time it was an apartment. I am grateful for... I would just go through the motions of doing it. But let me tell you what happened. You begin to actually start to feel gratefulness. So it took maybe a couple of weeks, but then I started to feel this feeling of gratefulness. Like, I'm really thankful I have a roof over my head. I could be living in the streets. I could be homeless in downtown LA. And then I started to feel grateful for my health, my healthy teeth, my hair, my children's health. I started to be grateful for the little things. And what I learned was your mind doesn't actually understand or believe or distinguish between what's real and what's not real. So the whole smiling thing, like, it's almost like the mind thought, oh yeah, she's smiling, she must be happy. So it the repetitiveness of doing it over and over again. I would do it 5 in the morning and then 5 different ones at night before I went to bed. And doing that for 30 days straight is crucial. I had read, and I had done all this before I learned all these little golden nuggets of knowledge here as far as what I'm going to share with you right now. I just started doing that, and I think I had read it in the book, and I just started doing it. But what I learned was this: the reason that my brain accepted it was you have I don't want to get too technical here, but okay, so we have pathways in our brain, almost like a ridge of, not a ridge, a crevice of water. You know how water runs down the same stream and you're going to get crevices, right? Well, our brain has the same thing. They're neural pathways. So what happens is I had this neural pathway. Let me go like this. I had this neural pathway of thinking negative, of hating life, of being miserable. You know, I had this neural pathway in my brain. But what I started doing by faking it till I made it and just writing it out, because there's something that happens in your brain too, a chemical that gets released when you physically write things. What I started doing was I started creating a new pathway of positive thinking and of feeling grateful. The bottom line is, it was a habit. I created this habit of negative thinking, and so now I slowly started to create this habit of positive thinking and feeling gratitude and feeling joy and thankfulness. That is crucial for transformation. Absolutely crucial. Healing letters, number 1, but number 2, gratitude is the absolute most crucial thing that you need to start doing too. So anyways, but I kind of want to warn you here. When you're creating that new habit and the new pathway, you know, you have this old one that you've had, or at least I had for, at that point, 24, 25 years of my life, and you start creating a new habit, your brain freaks out. Your amygdala, or your brain, or the part of your brain that says, you know, nah, you're doing something new and I don't like it. I want the old way. I want to be a creature of habit. Same place, same thing. That part of your brain completely freaks out, and it comes up as resistance. It comes up as, this is not going to work for me. I'm not smart enough for this. I'm not good enough for this. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. This is dumb. I can't believe I'm even doing this. All that is resistance. The minute you stop doing it, you've given into that resistance. You have given your power over to resistance and said, you know what? I give up. This is too hard. Let me just give it back and be the same old miserable, depressed, unhappy, joyless person that I've always been. And so for me, when I see resistance coming up, it actually excites me. If I want to do something different in my life and I see resistance come up, I realize at that moment, it's almost like you're drilling a hole because you're trying to get over here, and you're drilling a hole through a wall, and you're almost ready to poke through that wall, and that resistance shows up. The minute that resistance shows up, it tells me that I'm just about ready to break through. And once I break through, oh, heaven. I just heard that song. I could see clearly now, the rain is gone. It's almost this vision of happiness, okay? So when resistance shows up, keep doing it. You have to do it consistently for 30 days to actually, I think it's up to 60 days, but for sure, consistently for 30 days in order to create that new neural pathway in your brain and to start feeling the gratitude. It's only 30 days. It's probably the fastest way of changing something is by doing it consistently for 30 days. Anyways, I feel like I get excited trying to, share everything, and I want to give everything at one time, but I know I can't. So I just want to recap. So 3 things that you could start doing right now if you're suffering from depression and you're feeling helpless, hopeless, you're in the depths of depression. Number 1 is decide that you want to change, and know that there is an ability to change it, that there is a way of changing it. Okay, have hope, and it within that, accept that only you have the power to change it. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, go buy the book and start reading it. Start reading it and start writing at least one healing letter a week. So number two, read the book and start writing healing letters. And number three is getting a journal. And I get mine at Barnes and Nobles. It's a hardcover journal. I should have brought it so I could have shown it to you. But hardcover journal, I get it for like $5. It doesn't have to be a fancy journal. It just has to feel it's a journal that makes you feel good when you look at it. You love the colors. It's so pretty. You touch it, and it's exciting for you to write in. So in that journal, you're going to write down who you want to become. Okay, just one time. Don't write that every day, but just write down and read it. You know, couple of times a week. Write down who you want to become in all aspects of your life, and then, you know, second to that is start writing your gratitude. 5 things you're grateful for. Different things every time. In the beginning, it might not feel like you're grateful for it, but do it anyways. Write it down anyways, and then eventually start thinking, man, if I didn't have blankets, I'd be really cold. If I didn't have healthy children, I would be devastated. If I didn't have all my teeth, that would suck, right? I mean, I wouldn't be able to eat my tacos. So anyways, I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some idea as to where to start. And stay tuned. I'll be posting some more videos on what you can do and what the next steps are. I like my brain works better on do this first, then second, then third. And so my next videos, they will all be in the order of what you should do next. So stay tuned. Leave me a comment. Check out my website, mariselaabasta.com, or shoot me an email. If you have a question, I'd love to share it on the blog. If you don't want me to share it on the blog, of course, I'm not going to use your name, but if you don't want me to share it on the blog, just let me know, and I'll do my best to answer all the emails that I get. So anyways, thanks so much. God bless you, and live the life you want to live. Take care.